So there is a myth that goes around कि कौन couples जब business run करिबे it will never be successful because they will have a lot of personal and professional fights, right?
तमे मते कहिलो कि गोटे फेज थिला I was about to close that company. मो कंपनी बिक्की दी थांती मो ब्रांड को बिक्की दी थांती.
There was a point where everyone around me had given up and I was still standing there कि नहीं भाई हे जीवा मैं बजाय जते कि बिल्ड करी छु ना एटा के करी पारि नांती सब बेले डिप्रेस्ड रहू छु अपसेट रहू छु जस्ट लीव इट.
गिव मी वन मैसेज गोटे मैसेज तमे एग्जिस्टिंग एंजल इन्वेस्टर नेटवर्क
तो ओडिशा मार्केट रे स्पेशली एमतिया नाही कि फंडिंग होनी कोटी कोटी टंका फंडिंग होची बट सेउडा को बिजनेसेस रे फंडिंग होची कोन तो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप रे फंडिंग होनी.
व्हाट इज दैट वन मैसेज दैट यू वांट टू गिव टू दोस एंटरप्रेन्योर्स?
Please don't see failure as a stop. Just see it as a learning and a stepping stone for your next step. मतलब you can't say कि मोर एबे हेलानी जदी आउ केबे भी हेई परिबोनी.
And so it begins.
We are about to reach our destination.
Welcome Pratik to the Odisha Dream. So this Odisha Dream is basically how we can bring investment to Odisha, as well as how we can help the other businesses to explore the opportunity that is existing in Odisha. से विषय नहीं कि हमें discussion करिबा. Considering you have worked in the corporate and have started your own, हमें in the Odisha Dream want to understand about the journey of Bob's Baked Co. तो Bob's Baked Co रो नाटा केमती बोला first?
Okay. So it is a very interesting story. I mean when we were starting off, we had an idea कि हमें एमती किछि प्लान नथिला कि कोनटा एक्जेक्टली को डायरेक्शन रे जाउछु कोन प्रोडक्ट कि कोन मेन्यू सेगमेंटेशन करिवु. So we were just exploring that we want to get into the baked item section, right, in that segment. So एमती कथा हो actually माने मोर निकनेम भी Bob.
Okay.
Some of my friends used to call me Bob. So एमती he just casually thinking about different options explore करथुलो कि कोनटा हबा कथा so that we have a good brand recall, people relate to it, people are able to relate to the product portfolio that we have. So that's how we realized that Bob is something that is very catchy, it's very relatable, since the culture of getting into OTT, exploring international content, especially American content, Sadia mein Bob reference is very high, and since we are also creating a brand that is related to Western culture, we wanted to keep that intact, and that's how Bob came to the picture, really.
Interesting story. अबिका मते जणाओ कि तमरो जर्नी केमती रही छी over the years. How many years have you been doing this, and when is the year that you started off?
Okay, so it's a very interesting story. So I think ideation, I think the seed that was planted, that was when I was in my final years of graduation. कि सेतळे मते एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप टिके चढ़तेला कि किछि तो गोटे करबा. बहुत थर कहि सालेनी कि बिजनेस रे पैसा अछि, बिजनेस करले सक्सेसफुल हबो, and and बाकी usually family side from our previous generation that we have seen, semane सबळे कोनते कि नाही सर्विस लाइन रे जाओ, engineering करो कि मेडिकल करो. So I had always that knack to do something different, right? And food रे मोर काफी इंटरेस्ट थेला in general, काहे कि ना Bhubaneswar in general से explore करिया को मिलनो थला. I got a chance during my graduation to travel around, tasted different cuisines, different types of food. Quality realize हला कि आमे जोड़ा expect करूथलो जोड़ा Bhubaneswar रे मिलथला, that is not really the true quality, right? And that kind of initiated the idea कि sometime if I get into entrepreneurship, that should definitely be food, right? And that's how I guess I paved my journey as well. So मतलब मैं masters करूथली XIMB रे. I realized कि आग corporate line try करिबा देखिबा what is the standard organizational structure केमती काम करूची. So through that I got into corporate. I was working with Deloitte for a few years, and then I realized corporate is not my thing. तो कहली एबे ठीक है startup world explore करिबा. And I got lucky. I got into a food tech startup during that time. So that's when I realized, after working with them for quite some time, understanding, I got into the leadership team. तो मते काफी भलो perspective मिलला in terms of seeing a bird's eye view of 1,000 crore company, right? And how everything functions.
Tell me about the experience, I think, about the company that you mentioned they're working for. ତାଙ୍କର what are the three major learnings ତମେ जोटा कि अबिका incorporate करछो तम startup रे, and how are you benefited by that?
Got it. So I think जो हमारा business model जो value system ऊपर base है जो problem statement हमें solve करूँ, I think those were the main learnings that I had from my previous company. The first one was कि food industry by default is a passion driven industry, not really a process driven or a technology driven industry, right? कि तम पाखरे skill set अच्छी, art अच्छी, design thinking अच्छी, then you're going to do a good food business. Otherwise the failure rate is very high, right? So one thing I understood there that beyond the art we also have to focus on the science, where we can establish system and processes, bring it to a level where we can ensure quality at scale, right? Which is seen in other industries, in FMCG industries, but not really in food and beverage industry. So that was one learning that I had. Ki at scale, how do you maintain quality? How do you bring consistency? That was one part. The second part was it's a very high OPEX and CAPEX industry. By that, what I mean is ki tara establishment cost. You start a food business, tara establishment cost is very high, asset cost, and then tara working capital, your gestation period is very long, right? So people usually drop down before they even get to see the profits because initially margins are very tight, right? Because of so many operational costs. So how to make more ROI driven business where you are maintaining the quality of the food and you are giving a good value proposition to your customers and you are also making money out of it. That was the second learning that I had in terms of how you optimize your costs. The third was in terms of skill development. So when you are running a business, a food business at scale, गोटे restaurant चलाउछ तो ठीक अच्छी तमे गोटे chef hire करलो, दीटा commie chefs hire करलो, तीनटा helper hire करलो, they will run the show for you, right? But when you are running it at scale, it's very difficult to manage the entire business from different locations, from different outlets through one chef. ଆଉ ତାଙ୍କର retention rate is also very low in terms of opportunities जोड़ा तांको पाई अच्छी demand supply रो बहुत बड़ा gap अच्छी in terms of skilled people in this sector, right? So we realize that skill development is very important in this segment. Why? Because there's a huge gap between skilled people that are available, unskilled people that are available in the market who don't have jobs against the skilled people who are available for this industry, right? So say gap ko bridge kariya pai skill development or opportunities is very less for this industry, right? The kind of demand that we see, the kind of food and beverage businesses coming up in the industry, say skill development सेति की नहीं जति कि हमें engineering की lawyer की doctors को दौचो आज का date रे. And I think that realization is a huge realization for us, where we can create that kind of learning management system for these semi-skilled or under-skilled people, and train them, groom them, and bring them to that level where we can empower these people and create more job opportunities for them, right? I think these are the three things, and plus they are more motivated when they see growth accelerated for them. The kind of opportunities that they see, they might not have even imagined for their life, right? So that is something that is another learning, important learning that I've had in my previous company. And I think our entire business model is based on solving these three problems in terms of, how we are trying to add value apart from just doing business.
But interesting proposition that you're working upon right now. You do not have head chefs, right?
No,
So
we don't
not
have. We don't have
you
any
do not
chefs
have any
for that
chefs,
matter.
right? That is very exciting. Why?
Yeah.
Because running an food industry, ଆଉ ସେଥିରେ ତମେ ଯଦି chef ରଖୁନ, then normally the entire cost is about the chef, right? When you mention about कि ଆମେ chef रखिबानी and the base layer or the starting layer of the entire ecosystem comes to you in terms of maybe semi-skilled also, and you're trying to skill them, what are the challenges that you see there?
So I think the biggest challenge is the resistance towards acceptance of the change, right? If you understand the background that they come from, the experience that they have had their entire life, it's a huge shift for them. I think breaking that resistance, making them realize that this change is valuable to your life, it's important to you, that if you develop this skill, if you make that effort to learn something new that we are trying to teach you, will make your life
Let's
much
deep
better.
dive.
Right.
So Abhika, now you operate how many franchisees? Are you into franchisee mode, or you are into a cloud kitchen mode?
So we are a cloud kitchen business, right? So franchising and cloud kitchen are two different concepts altogether. So let me just break it down for you there. So cloud kitchen is just one format of a food business, right? You can say a restaurant or a cafe or a kitchen by default who is doing catering. These are all different kinds of businesses in the food industry. When we are talking about franchisee, there are different kinds of models in a franchisee business. So there is a company-owned, company-operated model, which is completely owned by the company. Then there is a franchisee-owned, company-operated, and there is a franchisee-owned, franchisee-operated. Right. So these three models are three different types where you can move to scale your business. Right. So our idea is to take it forward in a mix of two different models. One is the FOCO model, franchisee-owned, company-operated, and the other one is company-owned, company-operated. Right. Now, how we want to do this in terms of scaling, there are two different channels that we are taking. One is a horizontal channel and one is a vertical channel. Ebe ei dita channels ro manne kono, right? So horizontal growth jetla ame kohuchu, we are talking about creating a hub of brands from one single unit, right? To maximize our ROI. And each brand will be a leader in its cuisine or in its category for that matter. When we are talking about vertical growth, that is about going to different locations. So let's understand how a cloud kitchen business works, right? So it's a hyper-local food delivery business, right? We don't have dine-in setups, we don't have extravagant ambience, nothing. It's maximum, it's about the food and the service that we provide in terms of delivery, right? So for this, we have to focus on primarily on the food, that we give the best value proposition with the food that we are providing, right? So I was talking about how this business model works, right? So for us, we are very limited to a certain radius of a locality, right? We cannot deliver beyond 5 to 7 kilometers of radius because the quality deteriorates by the nature of the entire
But ତମେ ଯଦି
system of
standardize କରିଦେଇଛ recipes ଗୁଡ଼ାକୁ, what I understand from your business model, କି ତମର recipes are standardized. That is the only reason you do not have chefs, right? And scaling that particular standardization, kind of an easy job, right?
Yes, that is true. That is true. So I'm getting there, right? So ଯେତେବେଳେ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି କି ଆମେ ଖାଲି 7 kilometers radius को cater କରିପାରିବୁ, that brings us to the next point କି ଏବେ ଆମର need ଅଛି पूरा कौन city को capture କରିବା ପାଇଁ, right? So city is about 30 kilometers radius. Now we are catering to a 7 kilometers radius, right? That's about 20-25% of the entire market, depending also on the population density of the locality, right? So now if we want to capture the other locations, we have to grow vertically, where we place ourselves strategically in different locations so that we cover the entire 30-kilometer radius. Compared to a restaurant जोटी की लोक आसीबे खाइबा पई, आमको लोकंको पाखु को पहुंचीबार अछि, right? So we can't, let's say for example, आमे एबे खंडगिरी रे अछु, we can't promise a good quality food experience to a Patia customer, right? So आमको पटिया रे गोटे स्टोर खोलिया को पड़िबो to cater to that demand, right? So एथरे हमरो opportunity बढ़ी जाउची, scope of business रो size limited हेले हमरो horizontal growth जोगु scope of business in that small locality also increases.
So Pratik, मते difference को जदि जणे स्टार्ट करबा को चाहूची F&B इंडस्ट्री रे, से कोन पई क्लाउड किचन चूज करबा कथा इंस्टेड ऑफ इन्वेस्टिंग इन अ रेस्टोरेंट or a dine-in restaurant, what I mean.
Got it. So yes, so there is a very interesting story. Ame jatle start karthilu, we did some research when I moved in to Bhubaneswar back during COVID. So it was a very interesting story to see so much change in the first place. So I'll talk about these few changes which made the market better for a cloud kitchen. So first was कि हमें देखिलो there was a huge digital shift in terms of digital acceptance, be it social media, be it e-commerce, be it digital payments. तो यही सब जिनस आगुरु एते awareness नथिला प्लस टिके रेजिस्टेंस भी थिला इन टर्म्स ऑफ कि कौन तो फेलियर ऑप्शन पैसा लूज करदेबू ऑथेंटिक हम कि नाई तो सही फियरटा थिला सबले कंपेयर टू टियर 1 मार्केट. तो ऑल द बिग ब्रांड स्विगी जोमैटो बी इट Amazon बी इट Myntra they were thriving in these tier 1 markets, right? So when COVID happened and when people were forced to buy do contactless transactions, so that catalyzed the acceptance of digital transactions, right, in tier 2 market. So that was the first stage. Second stage was the baggage of information, right? आगुरु लोक जानी नथिले कि केते ऑप्शंस अछि जितले डिजिटल मीडिया रा एक्सेस मिलला इंटरनेशनल लेवल रे हमको इन्फॉर्मेशन मिलला at the touch of our tip, right? So that made people that spoiled people with choices कि भाई हम पाखरे जदि एमती ऑप्शन अछि ताले हम एमती काई खाउछु, right? So when the market saw the demand, they started pushing products into the market कि नाई भाई एटा भी डिमांड होची एटा भी भलो दिसुची. We saw that during the COVID कि बहुत राग होम बेकर्स होम शेफ्स आसीगले मार्केट रे कहीं बाहर रेस्टोरेंट खोली पारिबनी रेस्टोरेंट सब बंद हो गलानी कहीं कौन तो डाइन इन अलाउड नहीं ओनली होम डिलीवरीज आर अलाउड. सो दैट्स व्हेन द क्लाउड किचन एक्चुअली टुक अ लिफ्ट, right? So if we see pre-COVID and post-COVID, आमे tier 2 market रे, let's say Bhubaneswar रे, where there was a share of 15 to 20% online orders versus 80% offline orders. Post-COVID, we saw, like after the market settled down after COVID, we saw 45% online orders and 55% offline orders ro share, well, offline restaurant orders ro share, right? That was a very huge shift that helped us realize कि this was not just a COVID thing for the tier 2 market. This is a general acceptance that has come along because of this change, right? Now we wanted to capitalize on that opportunity, right? So how does QSR, it's not like QSR won't work. It's just that since people are spoilt with choices, they just want to hop on to the next option. आगुरु स्विगी जोमैटो खोलुथिले हमको 10टा 20टा रेस्टोरेंट देखा जाउथला, राइट? आजी खोलिले हजारटा बाहरिबे, राइट? सो सिंस पीपल आर सो स्पॉइल्ड विथ चॉइसेस, तुमको आगुरु गोटे जगह भल लागु नथिला, तमे फीडबैक खराब देले भी आउथरे ट्राई करूथलो बिकॉज ताटू बेटर आउ किछि मिली ही बनी, राइट? आजिका डेट रे एते ऑप्शन हे गला जे आजी खराब लागिला माने यू लूज योर कस्टमर, देयर इज नो लॉयल्टी एनीमोर, right? So if you just open up one brand, you are taking a huge risk in those terms, in terms of scalability. जब तमे standardization करी देलो, at some point it didn't work out somewhere, तमे say to तमरो trickle down effect start हे जिवो, and you will not be able to save it through anything else easily, right? But whereas if you consider a cloud kitchen model, cloud kitchen are usually basically a hub of different ghost kitchens, right? Different digital brands, right? तो याद रहा हमें कौन करचो, we are creating a risk management portfolio. Since we are catering to such a small crowd, हमको volume रे revenues दरकार because margins are also low on online deliveries.
मते breakdown दियो गोटे cloud kitchen रो investment and what are the expected revenue margins. So, ballpark figure, I do not need the exact numbers, but if somebody wants to invest in a cloud kitchen, what are the 3 things that you will tell him कि ए माने जोटा तमे फेलियर हेछि तम संगरे कि if you want to tell them कि ए 3टा जिंस तो करबा दरकार ही नहीं, तो can you just share some light on that?
Sure. So first thing is don't try to do a lot of things, ठीक अछि, because the entire business model is very new and not very explored in terms of tier 2 market. Tier 1 market re ठीक अछि, there are good use cases that have proven their establishment, but tier 2 re we still experimentation stage re अछि. So ideally you should only be looking at the product, the story that you are trying to tell, and the consistency of your service that you are providing, right? Just through the kitchen. Just focus, 80% of your focus should be on the product and the story.
But गोटे cloud kitchen बनेबा को केतना खर्च होवे normally?
Not much. जदि तमे बहुत ही basic stage रू start करिबो 5 to 7 lakhs is a good investment
Okay.
to start with.
Okay.
जदि तमे decent structure संगरे start करूचो with a good plan of 6 months of marketing and other operational expenses, you should consider somewhere around 10 to 12 lakhs.
Per month you are expecting 10 to 12 lakhs?
No. Total
Investment
investment,
you're saying.
initial
Okay.
investment.
Okay.
जदि capex or opex dita का consider करिबो. जदि तमे revenue terms रे देखुचो, in the first 6 months you can easily go up to 6 lakhs रो revenue in the first 6 months if you do everything right. ठीक
Okay.
अछि. तमे product launch करलो, product launch करी कि ताको तमे कोन तो customers को through market करलो, ताको भलो word of mouth आसिला, feedbacks भलो आसिला. In 3 months time span, it will be an organic growth for you. You don't have to worry about anything else. If you try to do a lot of things कि मु packaging भी कर देबी, मु बहुत बड़ा menu portfolio बनै देबी, मु सबु किछि पकै देबी ता धरे, मु price point रे भी compete करिया को चेष्टा करिबी, काहे कि ना हमर नले बिक्री हबनी, then that will be a huge challenge कि तमे एक खर्च भी बहुत करि दबो, तमे कोन तो probably revenue भी बहुत generate कर दबो, but तमे सब बेले loss करिवो. Right?
So tell me when you started off.
When did I start off, right? We started doing our first R&D happened in September 2020. We launched officially in November 2020.
Okay.
Right.
But से वर्षे भितर तमरे कौन टाइम ती want to you are trying to do and research and development in that particular space that you took 1 year to do that?
No, so basically our initial experimentation phase was very, very bootstrapped, right? So when we started the R&D in September 2020, we decided कि हमें गोटे छोटो menu रे ही start करिबा. We will focus only on the quality of bread and the ingredients that we are using for pizza, right? Our first product was pizza.
Why pizza? Why not anything else? Now that you have started up another brand called Nasta Revolution that I know of.
Yes.
But why did you want to build a pizza brand in a tier 2 city?
Here I'll talk about some technical approaches that we have taken in terms of understanding the market first, consumer psychology, right? So by numbers, if we see, pizza is the second highest selling product in Indian market. ठीक अछि. Second is Bhubaneswar or tier 2 markets रे good quality pizzas रो options nahi. Right? Apart from, let's say, some big brands like Domino's or Pizza Hut, we have never really seen like freshly made pizzas anywhere in Bhubaneswar market, right? So the exposure to a good quality product in terms of in pizza category was not there, right? So those were our initial understandings in terms of ki there is a huge need gap between the supply and demand here. And it was easy for us to convert customers because we already know that there is a demand, but there are not too many options. So we have a good penetration opportunity here in this particular space. That's why we wanted to start with pizza, just to be at a safe space.
Okay. Then you started off Nasta Revolution right now.
Right now, yes. We just recently started Nasta Revolution.
Nasta Revolution re what are the USP of Nasta Revolution?
So every brand that we launch solves a specific problem for us. So if we talk about Bob's Baked Co, it's mostly about comfort food. It's about, leisure. It's about engaging with people. It's like, it's not a individual serving food, single serving food, right? It's a food that you share with people, type of food that you share with people, right? So our entire target audience was planned accordingly कि हमें को particular target segment को इटी approach करिबो with our product segment. When we came to Nasta Revolution, it comes in the need segment, right? Ki it's a daily basis requirement. Mate every day nashta karibar achi, breakfast ho, snacks ho, mu seta karibi, right? Now what was the need gap here? Ki ame dekhilu eti ki roadside re miluchi, which is not very hygienic and at a very low price point. Au nohale bhalo restaurants like dine in good ambient restaurants re ही South Indian मिलची, which is at a very high price point. But there is a very huge chunk of people who want to have hygienic food that they can have regularly, which is not at a very, very high price point, right? And we wanted to address the need of that particular segment. And in terms of cloud kitchen, our target audience जो माने online order करूचंदी, they are ready to pay in that particular segment for good quality food and hygienic food. And that's how Nasta Revolution came into the picture. Ki this is a need-based product which is required by the customers, and Bob's Baked Co is all about leisure and luxury and community building and all of that.
And so तमे से same cloud kitchen रे you are trying to run two brands.
Two different brands.
Okay.
Right. So
इसी तरह तुम्हारा cost optimizations भी होता है, I believe so,
exactly.
and standardization is the major factor that you are definitely looking
exactly. Right. So the whole idea is to calculate your revenue per square feet.
Okay.
80. ହେଲା ତ QSR ରେ जो ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମଟା ହୁଏ ବେସିକାଲି ଯଦି ମାନିନିଅ କି ତମେ ଗୋଟେ QSR ର ଫ୍ରାଞ୍ଚାଇଜି ନେଲ, କମିଂ ଟୁ ବ୍ୟାକ୍ ଟୁ ଦ କ୍ୱେଶ୍ଚନ୍ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ୟୁ ଆସ୍ଡ, ତ ସେଇଠି ପ୍ରୋବ୍ଲେମ କ'ଣ ହେବ କି ମାନିନିଅ ତମର ମାର୍କେଟରେ ତମେ ଏକ୍ସପେକ୍ଟ କରଲ କି ତମର ସେଇ ପ୍ରଡକ୍ଟ ବହୁତ ଭଲ ଚାଲିବ ଆଉ ତମେ ତାର ଫ୍ରାଞ୍ଚାଇଜି ନେଇଗଲ. ୱାନ୍ସ ୟୁ ହାଭ୍ ଟେକେନ୍ ଦ ଫ୍ରାଞ୍ଚାଇଜି ୟୁ ସି କି 3 ମାସର ଡିମାଣ୍ଡ ହେଲା, ତାପରେ ଆଉ ଡିମାଣ୍ଡ ଆସିଲାନି, ରାଇଟ୍? ସୋ ୟୁ ଡୋଣ୍ଟ ହାଭ୍ ଏନି ମୋର୍ ଲେଗ୍ ଟୁ ଷ୍ଟାଣ୍ଡ ଅନ୍. ଯଦି ସେଇଟା ହିଁ କରିବ ନହେଲେ ଇଟ୍ସ ଅ ସଙ୍କ୍ କଷ୍ଟ. Right? For us, how it works is कि जदि गोटे particular market रे गोटे particular target audience पाई product कामो करलानी, there is another segment of products that we can cater to that particular crowd. जदि मो पाई गोटे particular market रे नाश्ता कामो करूची, probably सेठी Bob's Baked को न कामो करी पारे. But the sales that we are doing from Nashta Revolution will support what is not working for Bob's Baked को. Right? So it's mostly a risk management portfolio that we are creating instead of just investing in one stock and putting all our risk into it.
How do you scale it?
So since we are talking about standardization, it's a very simple model, hub and spoke model, जोटा कि कोई भी QSR model रहता है. But the idea is कि we will keep it local. Right? We will create small strategic business units जोठी हमें गोटे central kitchen रहिबो जे locally sourced ingredients use करिकी production करिबो. सेही टू production रू it will get distributed to individual cloud kitchen outlets and सेही टू final menu items prepare हेकी customer को deliver हबो last mile delivery.
गोटे challenge सेतरे कौन आसी पारे कि India being a very peculiar country, every maybe 100 kilometers taste change हुए, भाषा चेंज हुए, तो तमे जो पर्टिकुलर इंग्रेडिएंट्स टा इठी यूज करूथुबो in your maybe Nasta Revolution or Bob's Baked Co, maybe that same taste may not be there in Vizag, may not be there in Bangalore, may not be there in North India.
Exactly.
How do you cater to that?
Exactly. So here's the point about why we are talking about local ingredients, right? तो आमे जो भी state को जिब्बू मेन्यू आमर सेम रहिबो, मेन्यू मिक्स आमर सेम रहिबो, but the taste palette, the spices, the ingredients have to be locally sourced. So whenever we go to a new state, we will do a little bit of R&D for that particular state to cater to the taste profiles of the existing market. So I'll give you a small example of how big brands entered Indian market, right? Let's say Domino's or McD. तो तांकर international products रे तांकर bacon थिला, तांकर beef थिला, and तांकर different kinds of items थिला, तांकर flavors रे. But that did really work in India, right? So they started Indian flavors, like Maharaja burger, then there was paneer tikka, chicken tikka, and all these tandoori, makhani flavors came into the picture, right? From these brands. That was conceptualized by these big brands, right? So that need is always there. Right now, since we are going hyper local and we don't want to do like a national thing, we want to go even more deeper into getting into customer touch points. So we want to even tweak it a little further to the next stage, where one is supply chain is sorted. We don't have to worry about kete duroro jinso asuchi, bhalo rahibo no rahibo. आमे locally source करिबो, locally थोड़े R&D is one time process, कोन menu fix करिया पे, then it's a feedback loop, तापरे जहाँ feedback आसुची सेही सबरे will keep on improving it, right? So in those terms आमे local taste palettes को भी cater करूचु सेठी, and that is how we are going to survive in the long run.
Okay.
Right? Because जदि आमे national space रे करूचु, it's just one flavor and then we are stuck at it. After people get bored, they don't have anything new. Right? So if you launch anything, you have to launch across the country. Otherwise, it doesn't work. You
Absolutely.
don't get the complete ROI for
Absolutely.
it. Right?
Now taking a step back from the business, तमे तले भाबिलो कि मु Bob's Baked को start करिबी. Obviously, a single person cannot run the entire company.
Right.
You need team members.
Right.
And your better half is your co-founder.
Right.
I
True.
believe so, right?
Yes.
How did that start? And why did she actually was really interested to join you?
Right. So basically we met before.
But to give you some facts also, most of the couple-run businesses have done really successful in this country.
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah.
There are a lot of examples.
Yeah.
Like there are examples like Ashish Mahapatra, Ruchi Kalra, then maybe Rashima Mishra and Sri Kumar Mishra.
Yeah.
Right? So they have built businesses. And
Yeah.
I think, say, gotte maybe the understanding between the partners will always be helpful in terms of running the businesses.
Very true, very true.
Correct.
So there is a myth that goes around ki konta couples jodi business run karibe, it will never be successful because they will have a lot of personal and professional fights, right? I believe that's something very opposite. So when you are in two different professions, there is always an expectation gap, understanding gap. Ki mu doctor, tame management person, ମୋର profession ତମେ ବୁଝିପାରିବନି, ତମ profession ମୁଁ ବୁଝିପାରିବିନି, right? As partners. But if you are in the same profession, you understand each other's expectations.
अच्छा से भी सेम बैकग्राउंड ରୁ ଥିଲେ.
ନାଇଁ ନାଇଁ ମୁଁ କହୁଛି in terms of doing business together.
Okay.
Right? Professions alga alga thila, but we came together here, right? In this business. So the thing is ki ଆମେ ଜାଣିଛୁ କି ଯଦି ସିଏ ଆଜି available ନାହିଁ for personal needs, then the thing is ki we understand that the expectation is high for the business and we are in the same space, so we understand that this is needed. Correct. And I have to take a step back there. I can't fight for it during that time, and the same vice versa for the other partner as well, right? And I think that somehow also helped us spend a lot of time together in terms of understanding each other better, in understanding each other's strengths and weaknesses, and then using it in the business to help each other grow as well, right? So I think that is one of the most important factors that probably has caused a lot of couples to make successful businesses, and probably they say the same thing, I guess.
So what do you look at and what does she look at?
So she is into marketing. She is primarily into marketing and HR. I am into product ops and finance, and we manage other I try to learn her part of the job and try to help her there. She tries to learn my part of the job and tries to help me there as well, right? So it's like mostly a synergy जोटा आमे मिसिकी करबाको चेष्टा करू. जदि मु कोठी अटकिली से मते हेल्प करियाको चेष्टा करिवो, से कोठी अटकिला मु हेल्प करिवि. But to take responsibilities or accountabilities, this is how we have divided the work.
Tell me, तमे XIMB रू ग्रेजुएट करलो. Is having a brand behind you like XIMB helps in terms of growing the business?
I guess definitely because the kind of experience that the alumni of the college brings in, right, the rich experience gives you a lot of perspective in terms of decision making as to if you should take this step forward, if this is going to work for you or not, if you are doing it right, and the experiences that come are from different varied aspects and sectors of the market, right? So just for an example, our current investors, right, they are my alumni.
Okay.
The biggest example that I can say in terms of...
Yes, the alumni network works.
Definitely. And the beauty of our college, XIMB, is that the alumni network is very strong. Beyond just academic needs that the college fulfills. After that also, there's a very strong connect with the college and the alumni.
Tell me one instance, गोटे instance को जोतरे कि तम existing investors जो माने तमरा alumni have shown faith in you, and why did they invest in you? So
when I was talking to a lot of investors from Bhubaneswar and from the local community, the सबुठु बड़ चैलेंज मु फेस करली कि से माने बुझी पाउ नथिले हम कोन करिया को चेष्टा करछु एठी, बिकॉज़ से माने देखि नथिले एमती किछि हबारो एंड तांको से फेथ टा मिलु नथिला, राइट? तो दैट्स व्हेन मोर जो इमीडिएट एलुमनाई कनेक्ट्स थिले तांको रीच आउट करिली. I have a mentor since college itself, Subrat बोली जणे अछंदी. He has a huge experience. He runs a film society of Bhubaneswar right now.
Okay.
So he was very invested from the starting. So जानथिले कि हाँ मु किछि करिले definitely I have the capacity to make it big because आमे संगरे काम करथिलो कोमोतले कॉलेज रे थली. तो he was invested in the business since day one कि कोन होची कोन नै कोठी प्रॉब्लम्स आछी केमती कोन सॉल्व करिबा. And there was a point ଯେତେବେଳେ ଆମେ ପୁରା ସବୁ exhaust କରି ସାରିଥିଲୁ options, ସବୁଆଡ଼େ try ମାରି ସାରିଥିଲୁ. Companyର situation ଏମିତି ଥିଲା କି ମାନେ working capital ଆଉ ନାହିଁ next month run କରିବା ପାଇଁ. We don't know what to do. We have cut all our expenses as much as possible. ମୁଁ ଆଉ ସ୍ୱାତି ମିଶିକି ସବୁ କିଛି ମାନେ everything possible. Be it taking orders, be it making the orders, be it delivering the orders. ମାନେ ସବୁ କିଛି କରୁଥିଲୁ. Right, तो and that was at a scale माने initially एतले start करथलु एतले तो it was a need कि हाँ सब किछि करियार अछि तो one man army type सब किछि करथली. But when it goes to scale सेतोळे गोटे मनिष करि परिबनी सब किछि practically possible नहीं. Right, तो सेही situation जतले आसी जाइतला we were almost कि भाई एबे तो either business shut करिया पड़िबो नहले we can probably sell it to someone who sees the value in the brand, at least the brand equity that we have built over the past 3 years. Right, so एटा हो सेतोळे ही जणे आउ जणे आलम को संगे ये connect करेले. I pitched him the idea since he had a lot of exposure and he knew this industry. So one of our investors, basically Mr. Murugan, is ex-senior vice president marketing of Jubilant Foodworks, and right now is the CEO of a company called Manna Foods, who is into FMCG retail. Right, so so when I pitched him, we just had a 1 hour conversation. एमिति casually बसिथिली कोठी गटे से हठात कॉल करले कहले कथा बार अछि और से कहले कह कोन करूछु बोली. सो आई pitched him, questions पचारले, मु आंसर करली. तापरे कहले ठीक अछि मते एई क्वेश्चंस पई तू गोटे डॉक्यूमेंट रे आंसर लिखिकी पठा एंड देन आई विल टेक अ कॉल. तांको लिखिकी से दिन राति रे पठै देली. नेक्स्ट दिन कॉल आसुची, ओके वी आर इन, इन्वेस्ट करियार अछि, कह केबे केमिति कोठी. नाइस. Well, out of the blue. Nice. Hela. So that was a huge turning point that gave us a huge boost as well that in terms of
such a dopamine hit.
Definitely. माने सेतोळे एतले आमे गिव अप मारी सारथिलु, someone else is trusting us. जोडा मे 3 वर्षरु कहिबा को चाहूतिलु कि नो this is something that is going to be big, कि believe करू नथिले. And then when this happened, it totally changed the game for us, right? And fortunately he is also a member of Mumbai Angels and Chennai Angels network, right? So he opens up a lot of opportunities for us. Correct. Right, and also as a mentor to the company, he gives a lot of feedback. He adds a lot of value to our current scenario. So from there, where we were like almost done, say jebe to investment asila ta poro to month on month we are doing a 35% increased revenue, right? Great, man. So that was like a huge boost. तापरे तापरठु तो all opportunities just opened up. Ajika date re we have like 3 to 4 franchisee opportunities where people are interested to get into business with us. There are investors ready to put in money. We are about to do close another bridge round. Okay. And then we have another round promised for the financial year end at a 7x multiplier of revenue.
Tell me, mate tikke nuances of this fundraising टिके बुझाओ in terms of तमे first round टा बोधे family friends and family करथिबो. Right, and then you are trying to do a bridge round for a series A round, I believe so.
For a seed round.
For a seed round.
Yeah,
okay.
We did a pre-seed round.
Okay.
Now we are doing a bridge round, and then we will do a seed
round. Correct. And how what are the dialogues normally happens with the investor, and what are the questions the investors ask to in this specific industry, so that माने एतरे इन्वेस्टर्स मानकर इंटरेस्ट को एरिया रे बेसी थाए कि से एरियाज को देखी कि से माने पैसा लगेबे.
Right. So I think there are, from my experience, there are just 3 things जोड़ा से मैंने देखती. One is कि the vision of the founders. है कि केते बड़ा vision देखी चंदी, केते scalable है परिबो, को level जाए पहुंची परिबे. That is one. Second is the approach, the problem solving approach. कि attitude केमिति अछि, problems आसिले केते खराब situation रु बाहरी की आसी पारिछि, केते consistent अछि, केते persistent अछि, basically in terms of in the long run, not just in a moment, right? So I think these 2 factors, and the third factor is कि growth दिसुछि कि नहीं, growth mindset अछि कि नहीं. एमती नहीं कि हाँ एति की पहुंचिला परे एबे टिके settle down करि जिबा आउट टिके सम परे देखिबा. That constant learning and growth mindset is very important. These are the 3 aspects probably that they are looking at. They are not really looking at कि कौन business करूचो, केते revenue बनाउचो. Obviously those are technical factors, but they are not the most important factors. You might be doing very good revenues, but तमर जदि vision तारो double रु अधिक नहीं, ताहले they will probably not be invested in you because they want to see their returns long term रे जितले initial level रे के invest करूची initial level रे proof of concept ही establish करि परिबो it's usually pre revenue or just initial revenue right तो तमे सेठी establish करि परिबोनी कि एई कंपनी टा काली को हेई जिवो just because मु कहूची मु जदि कहूची से कहिबार रीजन कोन मोर एनालिसिस कोन मोर अंडरस्टैंडिंग कोन एंड मोर एग्जीक्यूशन करिबार कैपेबिलिटी कोन सेई बेसिस रे तुमको फर्स्ट फंडिंग मिलिबो तापर राउंड्स गुड़ाक विल बी लाइक द इनिशियल राउंड विल बिकम अ कैटलिस्ट फॉर द फ्यूचर राउंड्स जदि से इनिशियल राउंड पर तुम जहाँ जहाँ प्रॉमिस करूछ से तुम शोकेस करवा स्टार्ट करदेल देन इट्स अ इजियर जर्नी फॉर यू फ्रॉम देयर
मत से यू नो टेकिंग वन मोर स्टेप बैक तुम मत कहल कि गोटे फेज थिला आई वाज अबाउट टू क्लोज दैट कंपनी मो कंपनी बिक्की दी थांती मो ब्रांड को बिक्की दी थांती and that's a tough decision when you
very tough decision
when you have spent so much amount of time building that. It's a very tough decision. I have personally gone through that and I understand that, but tell me that feeling, how it is. I'm sure it was a very devastating feeling and it must have taken a lot of you know, toll on your mental health as well. How did you came out of it?
So consider a business as a baby. It's nothing different, right? You initial months you are so passionate, you want to do everything possible over and above jai ki karibu, but over the time you start wearing out, you start getting frustrated, right? But when it's your baby, like you're a living baby, you know that there is no other option. But when it becomes a business, at some point you are okay to give up, right? You don't know कहार को से पॉइंट केतले आसे राइट किए लास्ट करी जाती भिडी की किए छाड़ी दियंती ड्रॉप करी दियंती राइट तो आमे आमर से सिचुएशन टा ऑलमोस्ट फॉर अ ईयर थिला कि आमे एवरी डे माने एक्सपेक्टेशन सेट होउची इन्वेस्टर्स हां कहउचंदी फाइनल ड्यू डिलिजेंस भी हे जाउची तापरे कॉन्ट्रैक्ट साइन करला बेलको कौन तो किसी ना किसी गोटे प्रॉब्लम होची राइट एंड वी हैव गॉन थ्रू सो मेनी डिफरेंट प्रोसेसेस ना इन टर्म्स ऑफ इन्वेस्टमेंट माने डिफरेंट मॉडल्स डिफरेंट स्ट्रेटेजिक पार्टनरशिप्स माने इतने डिफरेंट टाइप्स ऑफ अप्रोच नेचू दैट वी आफ्टर अ पॉइंट वी स्टार्टेड टू गेट एग्जॉस्टेड राइट देयर वाज अ पॉइंट वेयर एवरीवन अराउंड मी हैड गिवन अप एंड आई वाज स्टिल स्टैंडिंग देयर कि नाई भाई हे जिवो आमे एबे जाय जेति कि बिल्ड करिछु ना एटा केही करि पारि नांती जदि कई गोटे मनीष दरकार जे बिलीव कर से गोटे मनीष मिलगला आमको किसी टेंशन नवा पड़ोनी आई प्रॉब्ली हैड दैट फेथ समवेयर एवरी नाइट यू नो एत थर शुणला कि नाई भाई कहीं एत स्ट्रेस नौचु छाड़ी दे तोर अवस्था देखिए जना पड़ुची कि तो लाइफ केमती चलची बोली तो सब बेले डिप्रेस्ड रोचु अपसेट रोचु जस्ट लीव इट right? This was coming from people when we did the friends and family round, right? This was coming from our friends where they were saying कि भाई हमको पैसा दरकार नहीं तू छाड़ी दे तो तेमती हमें देखी परिबोनी right? And when it was coming from them, I was trying to convince them कि भाई तुम मैंने पैसा लगेच तमें मैंने कहीं कहूच एमती even if the entire world is saying at least you have to
but that support system is really important,
very important, right? Because they are able to understand you, they are able to see you what you are going through and it's just a you know response to your reaction कि भाई they just want you to be happy or at peace. Correct. No matter what you are going through, no matter how you feel about the business, एबे जदि तो कथा होचु आमे देखुचु कि तू एते अनकंफर्टेबल होचु वी जस्ट वांट यू टू बी काम एंड कंफर्टेबल राइट दे आर कमिंग फ्रॉम दैट प्लेस राइट बट व्हेन दिस इज हैपनिंग एज अ फाउंडर यू नो इट टेक्स अ टोल ऑन यू कि से जो कांस्टेंट फाइट इन योर हेड कि भाई तांको कथा सुनिबो ना निजो कथा सुनिबो राइट एंड व्हेन सो मेनी पीपल आर सेइंग इट्स अ डिफरेंट बॉल गेम ऑल टुगेदर तो सेई फेज रे एवरी सिंगल डे राति रे निज संगे कथा हवा निज को बुझेबा कि नाई भाई हे जीवो आउ गोटे दिन आउ गोटे दिन आउ गोटे दिन एंड यू टेक इट बाय एवरी सिंगल डे कि आज दिनटा कटिगला आउ गोटे दिन कटियार अछि यू जस्ट हैव टू कंटिन्यू इट टिल द डेट you get that funding, right? Or you get that capital, no matter how you do it, right? So I think
but why did you start in Bhubaneswar chhadi ki tame au koti kain ko city kain start kolani because you were working in maybe Bangalore or and Mumbai I believe so right. To tame sethi kain ki no start kari ki ethi kain Bhubaneswar kain start kala
so again coming to my initial points opportunity विषय जो मुझे कही राइट तो मुझे tier 1 मार्केट रे देखी देली आई हैव एक्सपीरियंस इन मुंबई इन बैंगलोर इन दिल्ली इन पुणे and somewhat in Hyderabad as well. ठीक अच्छे and पूरा मु तांकर फूड इकोसिस्टम रो ये देखी सारी मार्केट देखी सारी द थिंग वाज आमे लॉन्ग टर्म प्लान करथुलु हमको शॉर्ट टर्म दरकार नथिला एंड लॉन्ग टर्म रे आमे पूरा क्लियरली जणा पड़ुथला कि दैट टियर 1 मार्केट इज गेटिंग सैचुरेटेड कॉस्ट ऑफ लाइफस्टाइल इज वेरी हाई एंड द इंडस्ट्रीज एंड द मार्केट इज मूविंग शिफ्टिंग टू टियर 2 cities जोटी एते डेवलपमेंट होउची एबे आईटी सेक्टर्स भी मूव करूची एजुकेशन हब्स भी मूव करूची सो टियर 2 markets are moving forward when the smart city project was launched, right? It was launched with this concept. So when fruition started to happen, when access of internet, access to information became decentralized, we saw that it's much better in the long run to start in a tier 2 market. And why Bhubaneswar is because I have studied, lived here, my entire education is in Bhubaneswar. माने मोरो कौन द 10th to 12th हे जाओ कि मोरो ग्रेजुएशन हे जाओ मोरो मास्टर्स हे जाओ सब भुवनेश्वर रे करतली तो एठिका नेटवर्क एठिकार मार्केट नॉलेज द नेटवर्क in itself was like we believed that it will be a plus for us in terms of establishing a good business. जोटा कि आमे से अपॉर्चुनिटी मुंबई और बैंगलोर रे लॉन्ग टर्म रे देखु नथुलु माने काहे एते सैचुरेशन अछि it will trickle down effect start hobo gote kari ki padiba start hebe only the best ones will survive after a point, right?
Correct.
And we have seen use cases like there are I knew a few people, two of them were engineers from IIT Bombay, and semane tankar gote cloud kitchen business start kartile. Their initial investment was only 1.5 crores. ସେମାନେ ସବୁ ଏଷ୍ଟାବ୍ଲିଶମେଣ୍ଟ କରିଦେଲେ ମ୍ୟାନ୍ ପାୱାର ଉପରେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିଦେଲେ ମାର୍କେଟିଂରେ ବହେ ଖର୍ଚ୍ଚ କରିଦେଲେ 6 ମାସରେ ବନ୍ଦ କରିଦେଲେ why because the competition is very high ଏଠି cost of doing business is very low
Correct.
right ଏଠି କଣ ତ competition is very low
Correct.
right so ତମକୁ ଯଦି bootstrap କରିବାର ଅଛି experiment କରିବାର ଅଛି this is the best platform because it's a growing market it's a accepting market
Absolutely. So Pratik, the Odisha Dream जो concept ମୁଁ ଆମ team start କରିଛୁ, the idea behind is to bring such kind of stories and also help the investors understand कि yes ओडिशा रे किछि जिंस build होउछि. What is your thought process to the Odisha Dream and how big that you look at?
So I think we have already had a short conversation offline before this as well about Odisha Dream. So I think as a concept, I think this is the need of the hour, honestly. माने या टू बेटर आउ किछि हेई परिबोनी when you are talking about कि आमे graduation level रू ही अंडर ग्रेजुएशन लेवल रू ही आमे ई प्रोसेस टा स्टार्ट करिबा so I think the education system in Odisha needs this kind of a platform where people are educated about the myths and the truths of this particular entrepreneurship opportunity in this space, right?
What are the myths of entrepreneurship?
So I think people believe that entrepreneurship is very glamorous. Business करिया start करिदबु हठात आपे आपे funding आसी जिवो आपे आपे business आसी जिवो आमे राताराती 100 crore company बनी जिवु and हमरो lifestyle बहुत better हे जिवो कोनता work life balance मिली जिवो we are our own boss, which is not really true, especially not in the initial stages. माने absolutely not. You can validate that the best. माने the thing is कि see initial level the struggle माने तमे सुनी थी जो bamboo रा story, right? How does a bamboo plant grow? Right? It takes 4 years just to germinate from top of the soil, and then in 6 to 7 months it just grows 20 feet tall, right? So I think any business entrepreneurship specifically is like that. राइट कि इनिशियल स्टेज रे तुमको सेतिकी फाइट मारिया पड़ो सेतिकी नरिश करिया पड़ो सेतिकी पेशेंस देखिया पड़ो दैट देयर विल बी अ इन्फ्लेक्शन पॉइंट जोटी तुमे एक्सपोनेंशियली ग्रो करिवो बट यू हैव टू बी कंसिस्टेंट एंड परसीव इट टिल दैट पॉइंट एटलिस्ट सेबे जाए तुमको रहिबा को ही पड़ो हेई पारे कि तुमर काली होथिबो तुमे आजि छाड़ी देलो यू विल नेवर नो राइट एंड दैट्स व्हाट हैड पुश्ड मी आल्सो कि आजी हेनी काली हे जिवो so you have to have that in your head no matter how tough it gets. I think that is the biggest understanding that any person who starts entrepreneurship has, right? So coming to Odisha Dream, I think this platform will first of all build a community of entrepreneurs or aspiring entrepreneurs and also give them access to a lot of knowledge and information as well as opportunities through these upcoming startups that are struggling really hard to make a mark in the market. And I think it's very, very high time that, good entrepreneurs, good businesses get recognition from Odisha. People should recognize businesses coming out of Odisha, right? ଏବେ ହେଇଗଲା ବହୁତ କି ମୁମ୍ବାଇରୁ, ଡେଲିରୁ, ବାଙ୍ଗାଲୋରରୁ ଏବେ ଲୋକ କହିବା କଥା କି ନାଇଁ ଭାଇ ଏ ବିଜନେସ୍ ଓଡ଼ିଶାରୁ ଆସିଛି ଆଣ୍ଡ ଇଟ୍ସ ଗଟ୍ ନ୍ୟାସନାଲ୍ ରେକଗ୍ନିସନ୍ ଅର୍ ଇଣ୍ଟରନ୍ୟାସନାଲ୍ ରେକଗ୍ନିସନ୍ ସାର୍କ ଟ୍ୟାଙ୍କରେ ଯାଉଛି ଓଡ଼ିଶାର ବିଜନେସେସ୍ ଯାଉଛି ରାଇଟ୍ ଆଇ ଥିଙ୍କ ଦ୍ୟାଟ୍ ଇଜ୍ ନିଡେଡ୍ ଆଣ୍ଡ if we are able to if Odisha Dream is able to create that opportunity, that platform for these people, 4 years, 5 years down the line, Odisha has no limits.
Absolutely, that's the entire thought process to this. And more Odisha Dream ko neki the concept is it has to be a community first of all, where the knowledge is shared. We are trying to create that Odisha Dream Fund, where we want to help these entrepreneurs who are trying to aspire and build for the national scale, and they have very peculiar problems to solve, very unique problems to solve, which do not have a platform to present, right? That is what we are trying to build in the Odisha Dream. Apart from that, give me one message, gotte message tame existing angel investor network jo mane Bhubaneswar re achanti ki Odisha re achanti, and most of the angel investors also take a back step investing in the startups, right? Even if they do have that money to invest and they are looking to invest in these kind of startups, what is that one message that you want to give them?
Okay, so I think I will first give a small idea of in terms of funding ki how it is divided. So it's very basic. One is equity funding, one is debt funding, right? तो ओडिशा मार्केट रे स्पेशली एमतिया नहीं कि फंडिंग होनी कोटी कोटी टंका फंडिंग होची बट सेଗୁଡାକ बिजनेसेस रे फंडिंग होची कौन तो एंटरप्रेन्योरशिप रे फंडिंग होनी राइट नाउ आई विल ट्राई टू एक्सप्लेन इट अ लिटिल बिट एवं एतले बिजनेसेस कहूची बिजनेसेस आर नॉन ट्रांजैक्शनल मॉडल्स हैला अबे मु जानची मु ट्रेडिंग करूची हैला मते डेट फाइनेंसिंग मिली जिवो कहीं मोर ट्रांजैक्शन हेले मते तादरे प्रॉफिट्स मिल जिवो मु से प्रॉफिट्स रु ताकू तार पैसा फेरई देबी राइट एंड इट्स अ नोन फैक्ट जितने आम एंटरप्रेन्योर्स को ऊपर कौन तो इन्वेस्ट करूँ व्हेन वी आर इन्वेस्टिंग इन स्टार्टअप्स द स्टार्टअप्स प्राइमरीली आर ट्राइंग टू सॉल्व अ प्रॉब्लम फर्स्ट राइट देयर फर्स्ट थॉट इज नॉट टू मेक मनी राइट इट्स अ लॉन्ग गेम इट्स अ बेट दैट यू टेक कि while solving the problem they will make money in the long run. You have to believe that process. So I think to the angel investors in Odisha, right, who are looking for opportunities, first है कि टिके mindset shift करिया पड़िबो कि भाई immediate returns तो मिलिबोनी. This is a long game. You have to show patience, and you have to take a little bit of risk. You have to take a bet on the entrepreneur or the idea of the startup कि भाई दीटा जिनस ऊपर कि स्टार्टअप आइडिया केते स्केलेबल अच्छी आउ एंटरप्रेन्योर एटा पुल करिपारिबो कि करिपारिबोनी ए दीटा जिनस जदी हेई जाउची देन यू माइट एज वेल टेक अ बेट इनिशियल स्टेज रे स्टार्टअप्स रे नो वन इज आस्किंग फॉर अ लॉट ऑफ मनी प्रॉब्ली ट्रांजैक्शनल डेट फाइनेंसिंग रे बहुत अधिक पैसा लगुची रिस्क बहुत हाई अच्छी इटी रिस्क कम अच्छी you can probably divest in different startups 10 different portfolios and see which one of them is working which usually angel investors or VC funds do like general practice. So I think say mindset shift ta dorkar tike where they are a little open to the ideas that these startups are sharing and try to give them a chance to prove themselves with a little bit of funding. Don't take a huge bet on them. Let them start small, but start at least with from somewhere with them so that they get a head start, they get the confidence, and then they are motivated to prove also. Right, without resources kete fight bhi mari diyo hey pariboni after a point, right? So that is something that probably the angel investors need to accept and understand in the changing market. Otherwise bahare investors bosichandi opportunities khojuchandi semane bhi dekhuchandi market shift hoche tier 2 markets ko they will move in. Hela foreign investments to asuchi, you are seeing that every year seta body chalchi by 11 to 15%. So they are open to invest, they will come in jodi opportunity tam pakhare ajika date re achi then why not?
And the last question, what is the message to the young entrepreneur? I do not want a very cliche answer, but a genuine entrepreneur who has seen death in his entire life cycle and have also seen the bright side of it and is also aspiring to scale it nationally. What is that one message that you want to give to those entrepreneurs?
I think the most simplest, if I put it in the most simplest form, please don't see failure as a stop. Just see it as a learning and a stepping stone for your next step. मतलब you can't say कि मोर एबे हेलानी जदि आउ केबे भी हेई परिबनी. You just have to understand, what mistakes you made, what did you learn, and how you will not repeat those mistakes just to be successful the next time you try. And keep trying till you are successful, because it's just one life. If you are passionate about something, might as well do it. And those are the ones who have been successful.
Absolutely, bang on.
Right? So I think that's the belief that every entrepreneur needs to have, and work every single day, maybe just a bit towards it, but do work every single day. Show that consistency. Without that, it's difficult. आज मैं 100% नहीं दे पा रहा हूँ, 10% दे पा रहा हूँ, but 10% दूंगा. That is important. So I think that is where I will want to end my thought.
Thank you so much, Pratik. Thank you. ତମେ ଦ ଓଡ଼ିଶା ଡ୍ରିମ୍ ପଡ଼କାଷ୍ଟକୁ ଆସିଲ. There is a lot of learning. ମୋତେ ଲାଗୁଛି କି the next young entrepreneur who will see this podcast, we will at least learn the nuances of the difference between the cloud kitchen and the restaurant, and the struggle that an entrepreneur go through. And at the end, we'll take conscious decisions with a consistency to actually build his own business.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, Pratik.
Thank you so much for having here, Arun. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Take care.